Imagine an animal longer than a basketball court, heavier than dozens of elephants, and yet dependent on food so small that much of it is barely visible to the human eye. That is the strange contradiction of baleen whales. They include blue whales, humpbacks, right whales, bowheads, gray whales, fin whales, and several other species. Instead of teeth, they carry flexible plates of baleen inside their mouths. These plates act like a living sieve, letting water escape while trapping tiny prey such as krill, copepods, and small schooling fish. Baleen whales are not just big versions of ordinary mammals. They are the result of an evolutionary experiment, warm-blooded, air-breathing animals that return to the sea and learn to harvest the ocean's smallest life at enormous scale. Baleen whales belong to a group called Mysticidae, one of the two major branches of cetaceans. The other branch is Odontocidae, the toothed whales, which includes dolphins, porpoises, sperm whales, and orcas. Baleen whales and toothed whales split from one another roughly 34 million years ago. Their deeper ancestry is even more surprising. For a long time, scientists thought whales descended from extinct carnivorous mammals called mesonychians. Molecular evidence later changed that picture. Modern whales are now understood as relatives of even-toed ungulates, the mammal group that also includes animals such as deer, cattle, hippos, and camels. In other words, the largest animals in the ocean come from land-dwelling mammal ancestors that gradually adapted to water. There are about 16 living species of baleen whale, grouped into several families. Balaenidae includes the right whales and the bowhead whale, animals with huge heads and long baleen plates suited for slow skim feeding. Balaenopteridae includes the rorquals, such as blue, fin, sei, brides, mink, and humpback whales. These whales often have streamlined bodies and expandable throat grooves that allow them to engulf massive volumes of water during feeding lunges. Eschrichtidia is represented by the gray whale, famous for bottom-feeding behavior. Cedotheridae includes the pygmy right whale, a small and unusual species compared with its enormous relatives. These families show that baleen whales are not all the same design. They are different solutions to the same challenge, extracting enough food from seawater. The most famous feature of these animals is baleen itself. Baleen is not bone, even though it was historically called whalebone. It is made of keratin, the same material found in human hair and fingernails. Baleen plates hang from the upper jaw in rows, with frayed inner edges that form a filtering mat. When a whale feeds, it takes in water full of prey, then pushes that water out through the baleen. The prey remains trapped inside and can be swallowed. This system works because the ocean often concentrates small organisms into dense patches. A single mouthful may contain thousands or millions of tiny animals. Baleen turns the whale's mouth into a high-volume biological filter, and that filter is the key to its massive body size. Not all baleen whales feed the same way. Rorquals, including blue whales and humpbacks, are famous for lunge feeding. They accelerate toward a prey patch, open their jaws, and balloon their throat region outward to swallow an enormous quantity of water. Then they squeeze the water back out through the baleen and keep the prey. This is energetically expensive because the whale must overcome drag while accelerating a huge body. But when prey is dense enough, the reward is massive. A blue whale feeding in rich krill waters can take in huge amounts of food quickly. This feeding style helps explain why rorquals are often streamlined and powerful. They are built for sudden bursts, not constant slow grazing. Right whales use a very different strategy, skim feeding. Instead of lunging, they swim slowly with their mouths open, allowing water to flow continuously through their long baleen. Their enlarged heads help them process large volumes of water while targeting slow-moving prey like copepods. This method is less dramatic than a humpback exploding through a school of fish, but it is highly specialized. Gray whales are different again. They often feed near the seafloor, rolling onto their sides and sucking up sediment to filter out bottom-dwelling crustaceans. These differences matter because feeding style shapes body form, migration, habitat preference, and vulnerability to environmental change. A whale is not simply a whale. Its mouth tells the story of its entire way of life. The size range of baleen whales is astonishing. The pygmy right whale may be around 6 meters long and weigh a few thousand kilograms, already impressive by human standards. At the other end is the blue whale, reaching around 31 meters and up to about 190 tons. It is the largest known animal ever to have lived, larger than any dinosaur discovered so far. Size gives baleen whales advantages. It helps them store energy as blubber, travel vast distances, retain heat in cold water, and exploit seasonal food booms. But size also creates demands. A giant body must eat enough during productive seasons to survive long migrations and fasting periods. Baleen whales are therefore tied to ocean productivity on a planetary scale. Despite living in water, baleen whales remain mammals. They breathe air through 2 blowholes on top of the head, nurse their young with milk, and maintain warm body temperatures. Their front limbs have become flippers, while their tails move up and down rather than side to side like fish. Many species have thick blubber beneath the skin, which insulates them in cold polar waters and stores energy. Their neck vertebrae are fused, meaning they cannot turn their heads the way many land mammals can. This may sound limiting, but in the water, a streamlined, stable body is often more useful than a flexible neck. Baleen whales are shaped by the physics of the ocean as much as by their ancestry. Many baleen whales are long-distance migrants. They often feed in cold, productive waters near the Arctic or Antarctic, where seasonal blooms support huge concentrations of plankton and krill. Then they travel toward warmer breeding and calving areas. This creates one of the most demanding cycles in the animal world. A female may spend months building fat reserves in feeding grounds, then migrate, give birth, nurse a calf, and fast for long periods while relying on stored energy. The calf must grow quickly, drinking rich milk and gaining strength before the journey back to feeding areas. Migration links distant parts of the ocean together. A whale seen in tropical water may depend on food produced thousands of kilometers away. Baleen whale reproduction is slow compared with many animals. Females carry and raise the calves, and the investment is enormous. Calves are usually born in winter or spring, depending on the species and migration pattern. Males often mate with more than one female, but their strategies vary. In some species, competition may involve body size, endurance, or close following of females. In others, sound becomes important. Humpback whales are famous for complex songs, produced mostly by males and repeated in patterns that can spread and change across populations. These vocalizations are not just random noise. They are part of social life, reproduction, and long-distance communication in a medium where sound travels far better than sight. Sound is one of the hidden dimensions of baleen whale life. Many species produce low-frequency or infrasonic vocalizations that can travel long distances through seawater. To humans, the ocean may seem visually vast and empty, but for whales it can be an acoustic landscape. Calls may help individuals maintain contact, coordinate behavior, advertise presence, or navigate social space across great distances. The famous songs of humpback whales are only the most dramatic example. Low-frequency communication also makes baleen whales vulnerable to human noise. Shipping traffic, industrial activity, and some sonar systems can interfere with the acoustic world these animals depend on. For a whale, noise pollution is not background inconvenience. It can disrupt the way the ocean is perceived. For centuries, humans hunted baleen whales for meat, blubber, oil, and baleen. Indigenous Arctic peoples traditionally used whale products as part of subsistence cultures, but commercial whaling became vastly more destructive. Industrial fleets targeted whales relentlessly, especially once technology made it easier to locate, pursue, and process them. Many populations crashed. International protections have allowed some species to recover, but recovery is uneven. The North Atlantic right whale remains critically endangered, threatened by ship strikes, fishing gear entanglement, low reproductive rates, and habitat disruption. Other baleen whales also face marine pollution, climate-driven prey shifts, ocean acidification, and increasing human activity. Their story is therefore not only about biology. It is about whether the modern ocean can still support giants. Baleen whales show how life can scale up from the microscopic to the monumental. Tiny plankton feed krill and copepods. Dense prey patches feed whales. Whales move nutrients through the ocean, fertilize surface waters through their waste, and connect ecosystems across migration routes. Their bodies are enormous, but their survival depends on fragile timing, the right prey, in the right place, at the right season, with enough quiet and space to feed, breed, and travel. That is what makes them so fascinating. A baleen whale is not simply a huge animal with a strange mouth. It is a living system built from evolution, ocean chemistry, seasonal cycles, sound, migration, and risk. To understand baleen whales is to understand the ocean as one connected machine. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.